Hello, and welcome to the B interview series for Black entrepreneurs, where we are highlighting Black entrepreneurs all month long here in the Charlotte area. Today, I have with me Johnny Walker with Monument Real Estate Partners. Welcome, Johnny.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm doing good. So please introduce yourself and tell us more about your business.
Absolutely, Jasmine. My name is Johnny Walker. I'm an owner partner of my own commercial real estate firm, Monument Real Estate Partners. I like to say we offer large firm services with a small firm care. We are a full service commercial real estate firm, serving clients in the areas of commercial property sales and acquisitions, commercial leasing, and we do also do business brokerage. Our areas of focus within those are hospitality, from hotels to food and beverage concepts. We do a lot of land development, industrial, retail, and investment properties.
Wow. So, how did you get into commercial real estate? Tell me about your process of when you started and hopped into commercial real estate.
Absolutely. So I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Um, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Boomerang. I saw that movie when I was very young, and Eddie Murphy's character Marcus Graham. I just wanted to be like Marcus Graham, to be honest with you. But so before real estate, went to school for graphic design and advertising at the Art Institute of Charlotte. And two things significant happened when I graduated in 2008. One was obviously the recession was kind of coming. So a lot of the companies were downsizing their marketing departments and their companies in general. So it was just very hard to find work. And then there was also at that same time the digital boom. So my degree was catered towards print media, magazine layout, things like that. If you remember that movie, he worked for an ad company. So that's kind of what I really wanted to do. And it was just a troubling time. So the graphic design was moving more to a digital web medium, which I wasn't really qualified for. So it kind of forced me into into an entrepreneurial role. So we began to linked up with a couple of partners, and we began to host events from product launches. We also did some fashion shows, things of that nature. So I don't know if you remember going out back in the 2008, 2009, when you'd leave a place, you'd have 20 flyers on your car, right? So I was the guy who designed those and ran a street team to tag cars. So that was my first introduction to entrepreneurship, commercial real estate in general, going back to corporate America, after the recession kind of was over. And I just always had the passion for marketing and branding. And then when you work for a lot of companies in corporate America, you just kind of find little things here and there that you wish you could change and voice your opinion. And you just feel like there's a lot of control that you don't have. And that was always frustrating. So right around 2016, I started to, watch a lot of these house flipping shows and started learning about real estate investing. And I thought, let me start flipping houses. But before I jumped right in, I wanted to get my real estate license. So kind of set myself up to go to real estate school full time right around 2017, and got my real estate license in 2018, right in January. Jumped right into residential real estate. But after I sold 5 or 6 houses, it just really wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't as fulfilling as I wanted it to be. And with my background in, business and marketing, I knew a lot of small business owners. And then just organically, folks started asking me to help them find them brick and mortars or investment properties. So I made the transition right around 2019, and I've been in commercial real estate ever since then.
What a journey to start where you did and landed here. So you talked about the recession. Do you think that the pandemic has affected entrepreneurship, and in what way, like positive, negative? What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, I know I'll speak specifically to my industry. And, I think when I started in commercial real estate, I think you could count on one hand the number of Black commercial real estate brokers in the city. I think there were two that I knew of. Since then, it seems like my segment of the market has gotten a little bit more crowded, which is a good thing. A lot more of us are jumping into the commercial space as far as the brokerage side. But when it comes to small businesses, which is a big portion of who we help, a lot of the small businesses find brick and mortar and large businesses as well. There definitely seems to have been an influx of nail techs who, instead of renting a booth, want to get their own shop. Hairstylists who, instead of again renting a booth, want to get their own shop. So I think that the pandemic definitely did not hurt my business, and I honestly didn't slow down at all during the pandemic. I was still working. I guess I was fortunate enough that my career was considered essential. So yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't stop or hurt my business. And I really do feel like there's a lot more of us who are now stepping out on faith and saying, you know what, this is my time. I've sat down, I've been at home, I've thought about it, I've worked this job. And as you can see, when you have your job, the rug pulled out from up under you, you do start to feel like, I don't want this to happen again. Maybe this is my time to pursue my dreams.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I also feel like the assistance, the financial assistance that was provided out there kind of gave people a footing. The world slowing down allowed people to think a little bit more like, what else could I be doing? And like you said, just kind of getting that control over your life of, I never want to be in this position again. I don't ever want to be in a position of wondering, will I have a job tomorrow? And what does that depend on and all of that? I definitely agree. Since you shifted and started into commercial real estate, what do you feel like has been your key to success?
Well, my key to success really has been my strategic partnerships and my network. Another reason I became an entrepreneur is because I kept getting fired, right? So working for, Red Ventures, I worked for Time Warner Cable, I worked for Yellow Pages, and they were all great companies. And I spent multiple years at all those companies, and I have nothing but great things to say about them. But obviously, there again, the challenges or the frustrations from myself being one, a creative, and one who I think has a good mind for business. When you start to see those holes in the boat that you want to plug up, but then you're getting resistance from the higher ups to do so, or you're not given the power or the authority to do so, it does get frustrating. But the beautiful thing about having spent a few years at multiple different Fortune 500 companies is the network that I've been able to attain. Even moving here in 2004, going to college, a lot of relationships that I built that I still have to this day. Going to Time Warner Cable, working in the nightlife industry, all those relationships that I've maintained over the course of 10 to 20 years that I've been here, or 2004, 19 years that I've been here. That really is what helps me. I've been fortunate enough that most of my business comes from my sphere of influence and or referrals from my sphere of influence. So I don't have to. I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had to put in a lot of the grunt work a lot of people do as far as cold calling, sending 100 letters a month. And I'm not knocking those guys, and I really respect what they do in order to build leads. I didn't spend a ton of money on Zillow or anything like that. All of my business has come from just my social media presence and my network sending me referrals. And then part of that is just partnering with good strategic partners as well. So for example, we offer a one-stop shop solution to any real estate transaction. We have great strategic partners in legal, accounting. I've got good insurance people. I've got good general contractors. So when potential clients come to me for assistance, we have a solution for every kind of every step of the way. We can assist. It makes us more efficient.
Super convenient. So going back to this influx of businesses, after the pandemic. Why do you think Black entrepreneurship is important in our community? Specific, what do you think entrepreneurship does for our community, and why is that important?
Great question. And again, it's about being able to see it before you can believe it, right? You have to have vision. And if you don't see it, then you don't have the imagination. Again, my inspiration, funny enough or silly enough, came from a movie that I saw in what year did that movie come out? 91, 92, right?
Listen, I was born in 91, so
Okay.
I never saw it. I know what you're talking about.
Listen, I'm telling you, the most underrated Eddie Murphy movie of all time is Boomerang. And the reason it got a lot of flack, actually, I've been going back, I've seen like some interviews from back in the day that maybe I was too young to have saw back then, but Eddie Murphy got a lot of flack for that movie because there was no white people in the movie. The only white person in the movie, I think, was the waitress at a restaurant. So you had this movie that was about no thugs, there was no guns, there was no gangsters, there was none of that in this movie. It was Black business people. That was an advertising firm that had a Black client, Martin Lawrence, David Allen Greer, Halle Berry, this all-star cast. But a lot of people had backlash and they said, why is there no white people in this movie? Right. And he said, well, is there any white people in The Godfather? There's no Black people in The Godfather. There's no Black. Why do we only get that? But to go back to your question, it really is about representation. And we say that a lot in my industry because a lot of the images that are thrown at us are of rappers, ball players, gangsters, street life, and we glorify that. And it's not just us, white movies glorify violence just as much as ours do, right? You have Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Die Hard. It never gets questioned because they glorify those things and villains and Al Capones and things in those movies as well. So we do get a little bit of unfair treatment when it comes to the exploitation. I think everyone's exploited and violence is just part of America. But a lot of times in our mediums, you don't see business owners and doctors and lawyers and hairstylists that actually own the salon, restaurateurs that actually own the restaurant. So I think that's the biggest thing is that our youth can see other people that look like them doing things that they may or may not have been exposed to when they're coming up. And I think that's the biggest part. Then obviously you talk about leaving something behind and building generational wealth. A lot of other cultures, they just have businesses that they pass down, whether it's a auto detailing business, whether it's a bakery, whether it's a grocery store, whatever. That family legacy, is huge and helps a lot of cultures get their youth an advantage. Once they get out of high school, they have something to fall back on. You can take out loans against your business to help pay for college or pay for cars and things of that nature. Whenever surprises come up, just having that tool to be able to, again, leave something for your children, to provide vision and optimism and creativity and inspire the youth to do things other than the basketball, the football, the rapper. And I'm not knocking any of those things. There's a lot of people and a lot of great business that comes out of those. But there are other ways for people to be successful that have a better success rate. It's one in a billion make it to the NBA, one in hundreds of millions will be successful entertainers, one in 30, 40 million become I don't know the exact stats, but it's pretty alarming. But everyone who goes into the medical program, I guarantee you those success rates are much higher.
Sure. So I have one last question for you, Johnny. Do you have any advice for anyone that is trying to or considering breaking into entrepreneurship, regardless of whether they're kind of like, it's just the thought, it's just the dream, or if they're trying to make their business kind of get up off the ground?
Absolutely. I think there's two most important things. And one is a plan and the other one is finances, right? So let's start with the plan. You know, you can't get to a destination if you don't know the directions to get there, right? Obviously, the journey is important, but you have to know where you're going, right? What are your goals? You have to plan for your business. You know, as first, what is the idea? Okay, great. Now the business plan. Who are my competitors? What challenges is my industry going to face? What problem am I solving? So that business plan, I see in my business, I meet with small business owners all the time. And a lot of them come to me so unprepared that I wonder, what made you want to meet with me? You haven't even got a business name. You don't even have a business plan. You haven't done a logo. You don't know who your competitors are. So there's that planning part. Start with a business plan, and a thorough one. We like to use, and this is not a plug, I don't get paid for using them, but there's a liveplan.com, liveplan.com, that you can build a business plan pretty efficiently and cost effectively through that program. But you have to start with the plan. Second thing is really, how are you going to support yourself the first 2 to 3 years? And that's very important in my industry. I know that real estate is the sexy thing to do. There's Selling Sunset and $1 Million Listing, and everyone thinks I can go get my real estate license, throw in a nice blazer like the one I have on here today, and I'm just going to post some pictures and I'm going to sell 20 million in real estate. It's not that easy. It's very hard. It's very competitive. And you're probably, most 90% of businesses don't make a profit in their first 3 years, right? How are you going to sustain yourself? So is that having a part-time job that's flexible enough, that gives you the enough money to pay your bills while you're pursuing this full-time opportunity? Do you have a significant other who's saying, hey, you know what, I believe in you. I'm going to hold it down while you go and run at this, right? And give you 2 or 3 years. Have you just got a nice 401k and you've worked your butt off and you've got a nice savings that you can now plan for and say, hey, you know what? I've got this savings. I've got some money in my 401k. If I scale down and minimize my bills each month, this will last me for 18 months, right? So I got enough for 18 months to pay my bills. I'm going to go 100 miles an hour and I'm going to give it a shot. So those are really the 2 biggest things. And with that, timing is really time blocking, right? As an entrepreneur, we wear many hats. If you're not skilled in multiple things, then you might want to question if you want to go into business, because you have to be your accountant in the beginning. You are your marketing department in the beginning. You are your customer service. You are your sales departments, right? Each one of those things, you have to be disciplined and time block for those. And it's extremely hard when I'm making cold calls, or if I'm prospecting and my phone goes off. Are you disciplined enough to not answer that phone until the time that you've blocked out for yourself for phone calls? So those are the, I guess, 3 things: time blocking, giving yourself a financial cushion to truly go at it. Because if you're only doing it part-time, it's going to be hard to launch a business if you're not all in. And then 3, really it's having that business plan and making sure that you're dotting I's, crossing T's, and really understanding your industry, your competitors, and your competitive advantage.
Very, very true advice. Because that financial cushion is a big, big part of it. And I think the plan, a lot of people have the thought process of jumping into entrepreneurship because it sounds great. Like you said, it looks good. The thought of being my own boss, being able to clock in when I want to clock in, don't have anyone checking for me, sounds great. And they don't think about everything else that comes with it. So thank you for that great sound advice. And thank you so much for being here with us today. Everyone that is viewing, we will have information for Johnny and how to get in touch with him, as well as his business posted below. So definitely check that out, as well as check out all of the other interviews from the B interview series on our YouTube page. Thank you, Johnny, so much for being here.
Thank you, Jasmine. It's been a pleasure. And everybody out there, go hustle, believe in yourself, be resilient, be persistent, and everything is out there for you. Take that chance, but understand it's hard work, but it can be done. Believe in yourself, and good luck.